All right.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if we're.
Why so loud?
I don't know. I was just trying to sense of.
You know, I'm easily startled. What are you doing?
Are you?
There you go. I like it.
So a few days ago, Andrew Bauman.
Hey, Rob. We're already on, huh?
What's going on with this?
I was hungry.
Oh my God. a few days ago.
Okay, take two.
No, I mean it's all right. A few days ago, it was Friday afternoon, and you sent me a text, and you said, it wasn't even a week ago, and we had not even started Real Wild and Woody. And I was just like, fuck you, man. What kind of hell week was that? Or what kind of weird time-space continuum did we leap through? Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. I mean, all right, a few days ago, it was Friday afternoon, and you sent me a text, and you said, it wasn't even a week ago, and we had not even started Real Wild and Woody. And I was just like, fuck you, man. What kind of hell week was that? Or what kind of weird time-space continuum did we leap through? Because
We are only 10 days past Real Wild and Woody.
Right. And it was a spectacular day, by the way. It was a spectacular
It was an
festival.
amazing day,
It was
yeah.
much, I mean, if it could be even less stressful and more enjoyable, it was, despite the fact that 2 food trucks canceled on us. Ooh, I had bad feelings about
I'm trying
that.
to put that behind me.
So, and you know, this is just a credit to the fan base, the ticket holders. Like, they rolled with it. They ate a lot of kettle corn and beef jerky.
I got one nasty email the next day.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay. And?
I fixed it.
Oh, you refunded their tickets. That was the refund?
No, half.
Half?
Yes.
I have a suspicion. I'll follow up with you with that offline. Yeah, so we had a beautiful afternoon. People were just remarking how cool a festival it was. I was pretty happy. So I'll take those odds.
And we had the bracelet making table was busy all day.
Right.
I put up a piece of butcher paper on one of the fences so people could write little messages, and that was nice. It was awesome.
Captured some nice comments on there.
Because some of this is in order to slow people's drinking,
Right.
but also beer festivals can't just be beer.
So in 2015, at the festival's end, I had several people not leaving the festival, hanging out, wanting to give out bro hugs. Oh, this is so great, bro. I'm like, hey, we can do that. You can continue to compliment me as we walk towards the exit. You know, it's kind of, can I get one more? You know, we're like, no, it's time to go.
Oh, one more beer, yeah.
2024. Ladies, do you mind like just kind of wrapping up your bracelet?
There are 8 people,
Yeah.
including brewers.
Yes.
They had already broken down their tents, and they're like, oh, we're still going to make a bracelet.
It's funny.
It's great.
Yeah. You know, picking up little drink tickets this year, picking up little letter R's, and
Yeah.
can't really do much about the glittery things too much. It's like, yeah, different. It was great. Good. And then, so yeah, we did that. We broke down, we loaded up the circus. Your stuff stayed in your car for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, we got done. The event was Saturday. We came back down to Phoenix on Sunday. Of course, there's wake up, have breakfast, try and shake it off a little bit, and then pack everything up, pack the car up. Well, the car already had most of the stuff in it, but we had to rearrange some stuff.
Right.
Get out of town. By the time we got home, it was 3 something. And I said maybe I should just stop at the office on the way home and empty the car out. And Bonnie said, no, I just want to go home. And I said, okay.
I unloaded it immediately, and
Well, this is a little bit of a out of the way thing for me.
Yeah, no. I get it. I just it was like unburdening my soul.
Yeah.
By the way, the grounds were in immaculate shape.
Yeah.
Like they were like, it wasn't bad the year before. I think we ended up actually picking up a lot of trash from other festivals the first year.
Yeah.
We were on the heels of Wool and Fiber, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Like we were literally the next weekend. But it was very, very nice. Several people, even though I told them, didn't get to go in the museum, and the people who did were like, this is so cool. I didn't even know this existed. And I'm like, man, let me tell you, we can get those guys funded and we get somebody up there on the regular. There'll be a lot improved about that.
And there'll be a lot of opportunities where, like, you could have 3 breweries there, have a little mini festival, open up the museum, charge entry, have the gift shop open, sell some merch, get them some more money.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't cost them anything other than, I don't know, maybe they have hotels, maybe they have to ship someone up there.
I think they drove right back. That's...
Yeah.
The year before, it was the crew from Tucson that had drive up, and I'm going to guess that they probably drove right back. And this year it was Tempe, and Todd, who we love, was there, and he, I don't know if he got a chance to partake in the festival.
I didn't see him on the field, no.
Officially, he did not.
And then the other person was Sebastian.
Yeah.
And they cool venues, cool spaces. I wish we could do more with them.
Right.
I'd only have so much bandwidth.
Yep. So we offloaded all that stuff, or I did. Packed the bag.
So mine stayed in my car, and I said, you're going to have to drive my car all week while I'm out of town with this stuff in the car. And she said, that's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Did she leave the house?
Yeah, she had to go to the office on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
And she went another place too.
Wow.
2 times.
Right. I'm just trying to remember. You had some water coolers in there?
Oh, a lot of, I had
loaded to the gills.
Fence posts and the big orange fencing and 4 water coolers and all the signs and lots of stuff. Yeah. But hey, apparently it wasn't too much of a hassle. So there you go.
So I have a picture of like one of the last beer lines I stood in, if you want to call it a line, or just showed people getting served at one of the beer tents. And then I have a picture of us or waiting to get on the plane at the gate. This might have some age to it. This is the Crushing Department Pilsner from Smeltertown, and it looks a little life to it.
It doesn't have like dark coloration, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. And I like this. They actually tell you who poured it.
Oh, cool.
It's a very nice touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. What do you have there?
Cheers. I have the 928 Local from Wanderlust Brewing Company.
Right on. We have some news about
made
them
with local honey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Good.
A nice Saison made in Arizona, available year-round. I wish there were more of those.
Excellent, excellent. So we got in the plane and went to D.C.
Right. Got home and unpacked our personal stuff and then immediately refilled the bag with stuff to go to D.C.
Why are we in D.C.? That's a good question. Right?
That is a good question. And the Brewers Association puts together what's called a hill climb, and that is where breweries and guild directors from around the country talk with our state representatives and senators about, our federal representatives and senators, about issues in the beer community that need addressing through federal legislation or rulemaking. But this year there was a lot.
There was a lot. It's not a
It was great though.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to find.
Those meetings, all of them went the full 30 minutes, except one. But
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But we landed. We split a Airbnb with Paul Leone, the executive director for the New York State Brewers Association. We have a segment where we sat around the dining table and talked about a few things, which I'm editing that will probably follow this show. Managed to, albeit it was a day late, but I got the previous episode edited from Mountaintop Tap Room. Very minimal, one camera.
that's okay.
Decided to just not screw around.
Yeah.
Sorry, we still got some background music in there, but anyway, we sat with him. We went to the nearest bar, which was 300 feet away, the Tune Inn.
The Tune Inn.
Which serves breakfast all day.
We left here at 8:30 and got to DC just after 4.
Right.
Because that's how time zones work. And so
it's a 4-hour flight.
It is a super weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And normally we're hustling to a reception, but we came a day early because they moved the reception up a whole 2 hours.
No,
3 hours.
They added a meeting before the reception, which they had not had before.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we'd come in on Monday, we'd have the reception at night, then our meetings would start on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we would be with our legislators. So instead, they just skipped that Monday reception part and did the Tuesday meeting Tuesday. But we can't get there in time from Arizona because we'd have to do a red eye.
Right. And get there at 8:30.
7:36 is when the red eye lands. And that would be terrible.
Well, you did that last year. I sent you on that mission, and we were going to do the day together, and I'm like, oh yeah, something came up, and I didn't go to immediately.
I remember. I only remember happy things, Rob.
Oh, good. Well, good. Yeah, great time. So the next day we woke up and did a walk from our place all the way to the Lincoln Memorial.
6 mile round trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not an insignificant walk for people who don't really walk.
No. I've done that.
Great.
I've done that at night. I want to say I prefer doing that one at night. Mm-hmm. Just because everything's lit up, it's quiet.
It was not quiet.
No, there's plenty of school children, and I was able to share with you, and I might try to sneak it into this podcast, the seminal moment in DC Cab where Mr. T talks about believing in himself, and
he gives his monologue
right in front of the
I'm sorry, brother. I don't have a minute, so you can do what you want to do. But I owe Albert for helping me find the things I never had before, like pride and dignity. So I'm going out there after them, because the least I can find is my self-respect, and the most I can find is Albert and them kids. I don't know about you, but I like what I became these past few weeks, and I ain't never going back to being what I was before. Never.
I've actually sort of taken that picture years ago. But we were there to do some business. We did get we were fortunate to get perspective on the industry from Bart Watson from the Brewers Association.
Yeah.
Also from Lester Jones from the
National Beer Wholesalers Association.
Right. Just both of those guys are wonderful. And I this is the first time that I've heard the new economist at the Brewers Institute, whose name escapes me right now. But he did.
I think it's Chris.
We'll actually find out, I guess. And if you're watching, maybe I'll put it on the bottom. If you're listening, you probably just have to look it up because we don't
have it in front of us.
No. I mean, but they were mostly, I mean, Lester is always going to say everything's fine. Everybody drinks about 2.5 gallons of ethanol since the 1930s. It's just a question of what they're drinking. Well, I mean, what they're drinking,
where they're drinking it. Yeah, all those things matter to us more than just the number.
You know, and Bart identified some opportunities as well. But
interesting thing that the question about cannabis came up,
Yeah.
and the economists said, look, we have all the data of shipments before cannabis to Colorado and within Colorado, and the data of beer in Colorado compared after cannabis. And there is not a correlation in the reduction of sales due to the legalization of cannabis.
Right.
And we have said before, like, that's a different occasion because you're using it at your house.
Right. Because it's a dispensary experience. It doesn't fold into what might happen with hemp, which is why we're really trying to get on top of it. Because that would be folded into on-premise occasions.
Yeah,
Potentially.
and out of the house.
Right. So our efforts to bring it to liquor license holders is to a couple things. One is to gain access to customers who are pre-consuming or mid-session in a bar going out and consuming THC. So if we could capture a portion of that, and part two is make it part of what I believe is a positive societal expression of consumption of alcohol and THC is in a controlled environment where people generally want to be within the group, right? Nobody wants to.
Okay, I don't do weed because I have to get drug tested at work.
Right.
But I want to go out with you.
Right.
And I'll have a beer and you
Right.
can have this THC that's available.
The fact remains, nobody goes to go like, I'm going to be the drunkest guy at the bar. I'm going to be the one that has more than everyone else, and I'm going to stick out. That's not really what people generally do.
Right.
And this would sort of help perhaps moderate that expectation. So we did get a nice rundown of the industry again, and maybe we'll have to go back through those slides and see if there's anything that we can add to the discussion move forward as we go throughout the year.
Draft is making a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah.
6% increase in the first half.
Right. And we do have something that we're talking about with that. It's called the Cheers Act. It is a vehicle for retailers to make changes to their draft systems to get more energy efficient, probably more beer friendly in terms of wastage equipment. And, I think also the underlying expectation is you had a lot of stuff that's been sitting around since before COVID that probably needs an overhaul. Why not just start
Put a
over?
new thing in.
Yeah. So
That would allow tax credits for new draft equipment installs and replacing others with more energy efficient equipment.
Right. We also wanted to discuss getting tax credits for research in the same year. It was something that's been continually renewed, but I think currently it has to be amortized over many years. And
Right. They did renew the tax credit itself, but they left it in the amortize over 10 years, which isn't super helpful for our breweries.
Right. So I'm going to do this landmark IPA and then 10
I mean, it's super helpful for people who build airplanes and missiles.
Right.
And they do a lot of R&D and they take those tax credits big time. And say people like Intel,
Right.
who does a lot of R&D on their new products, and they write all of that off
Right.
their taxes, and our legislators are big into that.
Right.
They are, I think almost all of them are sponsors of that bill in the House.
Right. And we just needed to clue them in that there is a different timeline for breweries and that we do research, both in ingredients. And I mean, you can imagine just, you can just
New equipment?
Yeah, I mean, but you could just look at hops alone as an example, and you could talk about we wanted to understand if sending someone out to rub hops was a good idea. If we get part of an early pick, late pick, when we dry hop, how we dry hop, all the associated equipment involving with managing that, different varietals, the effect of fermentation on hops, all of that, right, can lead to a different product. I mean, and those things that I just mentioned, and there could be hundreds of different iterations of that.
If you have to install a lab so that you can get data on those things,
Yeah.
that lab equipment is R&D equipment.
Right. And nobody goes, I'm doing this so I get a tax credit in year 9 or whatever.
Right. And it's say you need a $25,000 piece of equipment or electrochromatograph or something.
Right.
Amortizing that at $2,500 a year for 10 years isn't going to let a brewery get excited about the R&D tax credit. Now, if you said you can write it off in 1 year, that would be much more exciting. If you're talking to Raytheon and they have a $25 million R&D project and they're amortizing that at $2.5 million a year, that's probably okay for them. I mean, that's a drop in their bucket. For us, it's a different thing.
Sure. So other issues we talked about, there is a labeling, federal labeling requirement coming. It's just a question of two things. One, will smaller breweries be able to provide more generic information in a format that is probably a QR code and not have to do the full panel that you see on a soft drink, which, by the way, is an abbreviated panel. They don't do the full panel either.
All should be able to do that. There are a couple things. Are we using a formula to determine the calories and nutritional content?
Right.
Because if you're using a formula, that's much better than sending a sample into a lab just
Cost-wise,
because of, and timing and logistics and everything. Cost-wise, for sure. $250 a pop for getting it analyzed, and that's low level.
Are the labs equipped to accept 9,000 times how many batches?
Exactly.
And that kind of schedule either? And might those costs go up because, hey, we can now raise our prices because they have to use us.
Right. And this would be required on all cans, whether it's in interstate commerce or not.
Right.
The allergies, the big 9 allergies.
Yeah, I think it's...
And the nutritional requirements and the ABV would have to be... Well, the nutritional requirement to trying to get a QR code to link. But the ABV requirement is a great idea, and it should be on there. And then the allergies, also super important to put on the label so people don't have to do a QR code. But the nutritional stuff, take up a big portion of your label just with nutritional stuff that almost no one cares about.
Right. Yeah. So it's inevitable that something is going to have to be put on the can. The can is going to change. That is inevitable. Because spirits and wine, big spirits and wine, either want it for reasons of competition or because they have no idea what it takes for the small guys to do all that stuff.
Well, they do have an idea. That's exactly why they want to do it.
I'm trying to be fair here.
Nah,
but they're pushing that. It's just a question of whether we can do the more practical estimation and are we off by a gram of fat?
Right.
Or, I'm glad they're going to list the allergens. I think that's super important. It's something that can't easily be handled. It's not like you need a lab analysis when you knew you threw in some peanut butter. Right? There's no lab analysis needed. You just put it on there.
Right.
It's that, or will there be a below the threshold you don't have to do this, or
right, and that would be like if you make less than 10,000 barrels, do you have to put all this stuff on?
Right. So those are the two negotiation points because we're not going to prevail in doing nothing.
We're not going to push back and say we're not doing anything. It's getting done.
Right.
The president of the United States said, I want this done.
Right.
Figure out how to do it.
Unless you think a change of administration would change that, I doubt it.
No.
It's just really not.
The ball's rolling.
It's not really in the purview of a new administration, no matter who it is, because things are in place. The comment period has been going on. So when is this going to happen? In 1 to 3 years, we'll know if it's 3 to 8 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, so they are anticipating coming out with the proposal of the rule in 2025, and then there would be another comment period. And the Brewers Association is suggesting to the TTB that there be a 3-year phase-in.
Right.
So 2028 at the earliest, if that 3-year phase-in is approved. They might say, no, we want it on starting tomorrow. I don't think they will. TTB is pretty reasonable on this stuff.
Yeah.
They're not trying to trick anyone.
No, I mean, everyone's trying to be practical about this at this point.
Yeah.
And, again, like I personally, I believe at a minimum, the allergens have to go on there and they have to be in a consistent manner put on there so that it's predictable and easy to find. I mean, that just makes sense.
Personally, I think ABV is also important, not just as important. Allergens are the most important.
Right.
And ABV on a can helps consumers make educated choices.
Sure. Do I as a consumer need to understand if it's off by 4 or 5 points, I'm a little bit flexible on that because there's, if it's 10 or 12, I don't care if it's 12.25%.
Right now the TTB allows a 0.3 variation. So if it says 4.1, it could be up to 4.4 as low as 3.8.
Sure.
And all that's up in the air too.
Yeah. But, I think
some states prohibit
yes.
putting the ABV on. Some states require ABW.
Yes.
So
Which
this
nobody
would help.
understands ABW.
Right. And this would help
Standardize.
Thank you.
Right. So allergens, I'll defer to ABV. I think it's important as well. Calories, I can find that if it's on a QR code. Carbohydrates, fat, which is gonna be 0 or depending if they put peanut butter in it or not. I mean, right? I mean, those kinds of things, I can QR code that. If it's consistently on a can and, that is the QR code for all this stuff that I either don't want to see or don't care about or I don't know. But allergens, yeah. So we agree on that. So there's a practical answer somewhere. And I think we're going to find, hopefully that rationality prevails because, any hardcore reading of that would be devastating to our industry. And I just don't see that as how we're all going to go out.
I'll get the paper.
You need the what? Oh, yeah, we have the folders and everything. I don't know.
I threw my folder out, but I did.
Oh, I brought all the folders with me.
Back.
Whatever.
This is the wrong group of papers. All right.
That's all right. I mean, the other issues, the USPS,
CBP.
right? USPS
Shipping Act,
which is marginally important for Arizona because it would perhaps introduce UPS and FedEx to handle the shipping of beer within the state, which is legal for us, but we just haven't gotten any of those guys to bite. But if the Postal Service was into it, because I mean what is it? That $5, $7 ship, whatever fits in the box. That's our medium right there.
The other problem is that UPS and FedEx use USPS for a lot of last mile shipping.
Right.
And they're under the same prohibition of shipping alcohol as we are. So if they're sending something to an area where they don't have trucks and they send it through USPS, they can't.
Yeah. There you go. Got
a lot of rural areas in Arizona.
We had a couple receptions, which I'm going to characterize as a little bit more, I don't know, scaled down. We had a reception at Birch and Barley, which is downstairs from the Church Key, same ownership group. Had a great list of beers. That was our post
internal meeting,
orientation meeting. Right?
Yeah, I mean it was after we talked to the economists, right?
Right.
All that. It was we had 4 hours of meetings on Tuesday, and then we had the reception afterwards. And
yeah,
that was nice.
I kind of felt like some of the beers were a little bit off.
I also did. I had some beers from some of the most hype breweries in
Yeah.
the country, and the one I had, I would not drink.
Yeah.
And you can never say, was it the lines not being clean? I doubt it.
I think it's just that the beer there was a little bit older than it should have been.
Yeah.
That's my,
We're just guessing, but yeah, I had a couple drain pours, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. We also had a reception at Blue Jacket,
Right? Wednesday, after we did all of our
our meetings.
meetings with our legislators, we went over to Blue Jacket, which is a super cool brewery. They have 3-level brew house, and if you haven't been there, it's worth the trip to see.
Yeah.
Very cool. They always have a cask on. I got to have dark English mild on cask.
Great food too. All of a sudden, we were just getting these square tater tots that are basically
Everywhere.
like deep fried mashed potatoes.
It's a hot thing in DC right now.
I like
guess.
it. I like it.
It's fine.
Grilled cheese, little sliders.
That event was so the congressional baseball game was also that day,
Yes.
and everyone knew it, and so everyone had pre-game parties. Everyone being every lobbying group that was in town.
Right.
So there was a lot of competition for share of mind
Yes.
with offices, and I know breweries are super popular and the Brewers Association is popular, but we don't have the kind of money that the Home Builders Association has.
Yes.
They have a lot of money.
Yes. I actually went to the pre-event, the lobbyist for Boston Beer. I didn't know that this was his event. It was at Atlas Brewing Company. His name is Mick Nardinelli. Super great guy. It was his event. So I went there, and like on that side of the stadium, it was just people the whole game, right? The congressional baseball game. So they have delegates from each side, Republicans versus Democrats. They get like 20,000 people there, and none of them are sitting in their seats. They're all in the stadium outside.
Everyone's up walking around.
They're all getting beverages. They're all getting food.
Okay. So this week, the Congress is in recess. So it's their like, thank all of our interns for their work. Thank all of
Right.
our staff for doing all their stuff. And
It's a lobbying
party.
boondoggle.
It's a party for the staff.
The whole suite level is like members only, like meaning members of Congress and whoever put that on. It's a big boondoggle, and it's regular people too, right? Because they give away all these tickets.
I was there.
Tickets
Tickets are $10 each, all to charity.
We didn't pay.
BA did. It was so nice of them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, oh, you're a K Street lobbying group. You probably had 300 tickets to give away, in addition to all your internal tickets that you had.
K Street, I'm sorry. What is K Street?
It's where all the lobbying firms are.
Okay.
Big lobby.
So General Motors has a suite upstairs. They'd love for you to join, Senator. Why don't you
Exactly.
hang out with us for a while?
Right.
We're just regular people chilling,
Right.
watching some baseball, drinking some Dom Perignon.
So that game, though, by the way, the Bad News Bears theme song was playing in my head the whole time. I don't know what I guess there was a delay in the game because I wasn't there.
Yes, I was there. I got it on video, yeah.
A bunch of people jumping on the field.
Yeah, it was Palestinian protest group.
I thought it was anti-petroleum group too.
Well,
One and the same.
there's a lot of rumors floating around the stadium, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of rumors.
So a bunch of people tried to run on the field.
Well, some people jumped on the field down the third baseline.
Right.
And like 85 cops came out and tackled, and it was hilarious. And then down the first baseline, as the cops are all over there,
Yeah.
they started chanting and doing their protest.
Right.
This was not accidental.
Right.
But then, as they're chanting and not jumping on the field at this
Right.
point, all of the people started chanting USA
Yeah.
to drown them out.
Right.
And I have no idea what they're yelling.
All right. It's
But then also more cops went in the stadium and grabbed all them.
yeah. I don't know what the score was. It's probably 85-17. It was like a lot of runs scored.
Oh no, it was like 23-7.
Oh, okay, same thing. All I know is there were enough ads in the stadium that if you were anywhere in the outfield, you could not understand or see the scoreboard because all the things that are normally scoreboards for those fans to see were all ads.
They were all paid for, so no one could see what the score was unless you turned up
Yeah,
above your head.
it was. It was fun. It was fun.
We're not done with our legislative agenda yet.
No, what are you talking about? No, I was going to say, one might ask us who we met with, right?
That's true. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Anyway, before we get into who was it, I sat,
Oh, hey, we're back.
I sat briefly with Tommy Arthur, and he was totally into the game. He knew how many pitches approximately that the battery of the Democratic pitchers were throwing.
Wow.
But it was only like the second inning. Like, yeah, he's thrown like 90 pitches already. In the very, yeah.
That does kind of make sense. Those two first innings were pretty brutal.
Yeah. Anyway, one might ask, who did we meet with these messages from our breweries? And
Yes.
what else did we talk about? That kind of thing. We met with both senators, right? But
Offices,
not their
yes.
offices. Mark Kelly and Kristen Sinema. Always, both offices have been always pretty cordial with us. Actually, the night before, I ran into a bunch of their staffers. Like, we were at some bar and everyone left, and I was like, I'm going to wrap up here. And like, when we go in these groups, sometimes it splits off, and I'm going to get on Slack to see what people think of the next place they went to. And ran into one of the cinema staffers and a couple of people from the marijuana industry who are the ones that are sympathetic to the hemp cause, not the ones who are against us, because they would never be in a bar. God forsake that, But hung out with them. I'm going to have to connect with them. We have some inevitabilities that happen in the legislature that we'll talk about a little later. But anyway, I will say this about cinema staff. They're super, super knowledgeable. Like, of all the staffers that we meet with year over year, they're on top of it. We also met,
start our first meetings with the Senator Kelly's staff.
right. And then we went
Sydney.
over, yes. Then we went over to Cinema's office, but we had to switch gears. Like, our meetings were back to back, and there was no possible way to make it from the Senate side office buildings to the House side office buildings without technology. And what technology did we use?
We use the favorite Lime scooters.
Lime scooters, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's us in our suits.
Yes. There is something about that. I wish that I would have had the forethought to mount a camera to it. It was kind of fun. We went with Schweikert's office, who is on the Powerful Ways and Means Committee.
Right.
So we had a lot of agenda items for him.
The Brewers Association was kind enough to create a they subscribe to a website program
Right.
where it tracks what committees our members are on and what particular items of concern to our organization
Right.
should be addressed.
Right.
So before the meeting, you go to that meeting, you click on it, and it says, here's the bio of the candidate.
Right.
Here is the committees they're on and the items that we would like to thank them for taking care of.
Right.
And look forward to their support
Right.
on.
So Katie Marisic, the government affairs,
Liaison,
sure,
you're welcome.
writes all these notes and tailors them specifically to those kinds of things. So it's a great piece of software. It schedules it. There's a way to follow up. There's a couple things as an app that I'm not really fond of, but way better than the piece of paper we get and then, there's an update and all that stuff. We still have the folder packets full of information. But
We get one packet for each office to give them all of our agenda items and little fun things like join the Congressional Homebrew contest and come to our party at Blue Jacket. And what was the other one? Caucus.
the homebrew competition,
Yeah, I said that one. Join the
small brewers.
bipartisan, bicameral small brewers caucus.
Right. It's the largest of those
The largest caucus, yes.
of bipartisan.
Bicameral, bipartisan.
Yeah. So just in the larger context, Representative Schweikert is probably facing a very competitive race. He narrowly, the last two elections, he's narrowly won, and it was razor thin this last election, and it's a question of whether he'll remain. Nevertheless, we met with a lot of people who were either retiring or inevitably they were going to leave office. You still will have to work with the office. You still have to. Chances are you're going to run into a lot of these staff members again. Things like the Small Brewers Caucus, if they can get involved, they can connect. They can understand our issues. So there are no meetings that are not worthwhile, except for the last one. Anyway, which we'll talk about. We also met in person with Representative Greg Stanton, which is AZ4, which is my district, your district, East Valley, part of Phoenix. Always pleasant to run into him because we've had of all the representatives, I think we've met with him.
He is
the
not
most.
my representative, but that would be nice if he was.
Oh, sorry. Of this office. Well, he's your representative because he meets with you frequently,
Absolutely.
in person,
Yes,
tours breweries.
that's correct.
We see him here in the Valley. We see him in D.C. So we also met with Ruben Gallego's office, and we didn't see him play, but he was on the field for the congressional. Oh, both of them. Stanton.
Stanton was on third base.
Yeah, I think he made a sacrifice fly.
Yeah,
that one
that's true.
but I wasn't watching the game. I'll be honest.
We
with
didn't
you.
watch much of the game.
But I've known Representative Gallego from his state legislature days. He's been to our festivals before, and so of all the things that we're going to follow up on the most is like you got to be in the Small Brewers Caucus, like
Right.
those two for sure.
Yep.
They were perhaps, but they have to renew every once in a while. So
And Gallego is not running for his seat.
no, he's running for Senate.
Right.
And so there are a number of people who also that we are familiar with in this job because of their work at the state, local levels. So we'll see who fills that seat. It will probably be a Democrat just based on the demographics of that district. We met with the office of Juan Ciscomani, who is also in a tight race, perhaps.
Oh,
Yeah. I think he narrowly beat Kristen Ingle. And I don't know who's challenging. But that is definitely a
Tucson representative.
roughly, yeah. It extends down to the border as well. We met in person with Debbie Lesko,
Yep.
District 8 on the west side. There are 7 or 8 Republicans vying for that seat.
Was that what was in the agenda today?
I don't know.
Oh no, I think it was
5th. Yeah, it was the 5th. I didn't catch up on it.
Yeah, she is retiring from her congressional seat and running for the
The Board of Supervisors.
Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
Yes. So I had met with her once or twice in the past in person. Always no nonsense. Helped us with our tax issue.
She had her own summary
Yeah.
of our issues
Yes.
because obviously the BA sends an email. She had a summary of all of our issues that
Right.
was not typed by the BA that one of her staffers put together for our meeting.
Right.
That was impressive.
Yeah. And, She lamented that.
And she looked over it before we got there.
She lamented that that she feels like the right doesn't get enough credit for drinking beer, and I assured her that that's not the case in our state at the local level. Listen, I have reason to disagree with Representative Lesko, but she's not my representative, and so we've had a pretty good relationship for this job. She's leaving a huge vacancy that will either be filled by Blake Masters or Abe Hamadeh or
Those are the two guys running for her district?
Ben Toma, the current Speaker of the House for the Senate, or the House of Representatives, which Debbie Lesko endorses because he lives in the district. Trent Franks, who was in that district before, who resigned because he asked his staff if they could bear his children. Somehow that got memory hold, and no one remembers that. It's a interesting cast of characters.
Who is our director of education for Arizona?
Tom Horn? Is that?
Yeah, like we forget everything. You do know Tom Horn,
Yes, I
right?
do.
He's
Yeah.
done some.
So, listen, I just had a really pleasant conversation with her, and
Absolutely.
okay. So, like, people are different face to face, and
Yes.
do I
and
feel?
it doesn't matter. We're not here to represent the right or the left. We're here to represent beer.
No. So I'm just saying, it's important that we get in front of people
Yes. Every
because
representative we can talk to,
Right.
we talk to, period.
that being said, I'm going to bring up your district.
Oh, great.
District 5, Andy Biggs, who used to be the Speaker of the House and shepherded one of our bills, but he kind of did it under duress because the governor wanted it. He's now at the federal level. I have not met him in D.C. I've always been handed off to his staff. In this case, we were handed off to a staff member who clearly did not want to talk to us.
As we were in the office waiting for that staff member to be available, Biggs was on the floor of Congress talking.
Right.
So he was clearly not available to meet with us because he was on the floor of Congress talking at the time.
That's not important to us, though.
Right.
It's nice to speak directly to the member, but
It is nice. So when we met with his staffer, they did not. We took the meeting in the hallway, which
Yep.
does happen. And
Yeah.
we've had those meetings before that were completely positive and great.
yes.
This was not that. Sydney from Cinema's office met with us in the hallway last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this year we sat down. Everything was great both times. He didn't open the folder at all. Didn't take one note. Didn't ask one question. Looked at us like he was dead.
Yeah. And our first, I mean, like everyone, like there are members of Congress who are non-drinkers who will listen to our issues and understand it from the business aspect, from the manufacturing aspect, from the greater good of tax base, Arizona, all that stuff. They'll listen to us, and they
Absolutely.
may continue to disagree, but I just didn't feel like it was like, oh, you're talking about the post office? My boss wants to eliminate the post office. So, I mean, like that.
We heard that more than once, by the way.
He didn't actually say that, but I know that that's what their office.
More than once. We were told that, you want the post office to have more income and more things to do? Yeah, we just don't want the post office to exist. What? Okay.
Of 10 years, this was pretty weird, especially since like you are an actual constituent.
Yeah.
You
I
are-
said I live in the district. I opened with that.
Right.
And he just looked at me like,
Yeah. So
I mean, it is unfair to push off onto the representative what their staffers do.
I don't think
all
so.
the time.
Not in this case. There's
It
a
was-
long history.
It
of
was
this.
the last meeting of the day. The representative was on the floor speaking, which I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but he may have wanted to have been inside watching that speech instead of out in the hallway
Hey man,
talking to
C-SPAN
us.
is recorded. So listen, I'm just gonna tell you,
I'm just trying to give rope.
no,
That dude did not care at all, but I can't put that on the rep directly.
it's kind of consistent with the rep.
I guess. I don't know.
So-
First time I ever met with that office.
Okay.
They skipped us the last 2 years. They're like, we can't take that meeting.
I might have had a role in that. Anyway, overall, great. No, I mean, it was
Well, it's great. And anytime you go to DC and you see the people in the staffers in the office,
Yeah.
they are so excited about what they're doing.
right.
And they are really, it's just amazing.
Yeah. So the question remains, even though I thought that was not a productive meeting, would I reschedule a meeting with that office again? Absolutely. Like at some point, I don't care. I got 15 minutes. I got 20 minutes. You're going to hear what I have to say. And he heard what we had to say.
Yeah.
And we could follow up.
And we did
And
push
we
it.
could challenge.
We went to all the minute details because he wasn't asking any questions.
No, I know.
So we just held him there because he didn't acknowledge understanding anything. So then we had to go deeper.
Exactly.
Sorry.
People should understand that that's a thing. And like,
That's the Biggs idea.
listen, you can level some criticism at Kristen Sinema's office or her because she doesn't do town meetings, right? That was a big dig on her. She doesn't in touch with this is the same criticism we get with Andy Biggs. He doesn't meet in your district. You don't have an opportunity to speak to him in your district. So
I do get his newsletter every week.
boy.
It comes to my personal email,
Yeah.
so I don't really keep up on that very well. If anyone's emailing me in my personal email, make sure and tell me because I really never watch it. But I do once in a while look, and I'm like, oh, there's the newsletter again.
Okay, are we done with DC
I think so.
a little bit?
I think we should be done.
Because unfortunately, we have another whole dose of like politics. Do you want to do some of the beer news in between here? And I don't know where we're at. Yeah, a little bit of beer news. You got some beer news?
Sure.
Okay.
Beer news. So we've got Look Brewery
Yeah.
in February
Yes.
discontinued their brewing program.
Right.
They're still open as a cinema.
Yes. The brewer.
The brewer is now over. Marisa
Yes.
Bernal is
We
over
love her.
at Phoenix Beer Co.
An important beer judge in our beer judging program.
Yeah.
Also, just a great storyteller.
Tons of experience.
The power couple, Melissa Osborne and Doc Osborne, have sort of taken her under their wing. They think highly of her. We think highly of her.
Right.
So good. All good things.
Look Brewing Company decided they no longer wanted to have a brewery. They are a
Right.
cinema chain. The brewery thing was it was an experiment. They found a convenient location that was work for their needs and it had a brewery and they said, okay, let's have a brewery.
Well, Marisa was part of the original brewery, which was
Flicks.
Flicks. She was let go. They reconstituted the brewery. They brought her on. They had a plan to brew and move beer to California, and I think that's part of the reason. Things don't happen real quickly with those kinds of arrangements.
There's getting distributor contracts. There's a lot of
I think there was a reluctance to hire the right people to make those things. That's something that a general manager at a
cinema.
restaurant, brewery even, is able to sort of naturally pull off.
Right.
You're talking about interstate commerce. You're talking about legal agreements,
Lots of them.
contracts,
Sure.
negotiations about that. It has to move by a distributor. I mean, you could not do that, but then you're hiring a trucking staff. So
You couldn't not do that. In California, it has to come in through a distributor. They have no self-distribution rights
there you go.
for out-of-state breweries.
Anyway,
And I just made that up. But
go on. Sorry.
I met with the general manager, and he is hoping to find someone that wants to use that brewing facility and either for an existing brewery to increase some capacity. It's not a large brewery, it's 7 barrel.
Yeah.
7 sounds right.
Yeah.
Just remembering the size. Visually. So they want to they want someone to take it over, maybe contract a few brews for them,
Right.
and then use it as their own outlet. They would take on handles of someone who took over there. they have a walk-in cooler that they can dedicate to that organization to use as part of their brewing company.
Right.
So a lot of opportunities there. Packaging would be rough. They don't open early in the morning, so if something were to happen, like mobile canning could happen on a tight schedule. But yeah, that's what Look Brewing Company has to offer.
Here's the thing. We just got some information this morning. It probably is out there for a while, but it was just refocused. Nationally, breweries are producing at half capacity right now.
You mentioned that. I haven't read that article.
So just for, at the height, maybe you're talking about 30%. Now we're looking at 49%.
Of excess capacity.
Right.
Sure, at the height. Well, yeah.
25, 30%.
Of 25, 30% extra. And now 50%
right.
extra.
So as
that's a really tough number because, like, how do you determine what the capacity of a brewery is? I mean, I've done it. I know how to do it. But what I'm saying is not everyone brews the same process.
Sure.
So if you have a 2-week turnaround, some people have a 3-week turnaround on lagers, some people have a 6-week turnaround on lagers. That doesn't mean the capacity is the same. Your capacity is different depending on your process.
I don't have Bart's answer, but the power of economics and economic tools are that you can extrapolate, and you can do so with a pretty high degree of confidence about these things. But for sure, it's just that when as there's more capacity out there, it kind of falls in line with how beer sales are flatter. And so I'm trying to square this with the fact that I say, some breweries should get together because they can increase their capacity. I think they're going to, but what's unspoken is if you have a bunch of breweries with very small systems and they're all at half capacity, even if they're all at full capacity, I think the key is to get the scale you normally would get by investing a lot of money or slowly over a long period of time, organically building that capacity. I think what you have to understand is if you are a successful tap room, that equipment is taking up space, and especially if you're canning. If you can move to somewhere that has
lower overhead costs,
right? Shared costs.
You can expand your tap room,
and you can buy some ingredients at a lower price because of the combined
volume.
You're going to do better. So it still requires an investment. It's not free. It's not like you could just shift this stuff. So I think.
And we know several small breweries here in Arizona that occasionally contract to get, I don't know, I need 30 barrels of this for the next 6 months, and it's going to be fine. So they brew that, they store it.
The percentage of open tank space is going to go down simply because some of those places are going to sell those tanks, lose those tanks, sell their business, lose the business. So,
but also you can increase your capacity just by using enzymes and other products that can either turn your beer faster or allow you to put an extra 10% of beer in your fermenter. There's lots of things that can adjust capacity. So that's a tough number to really get my head around. But I know breweries here that have really pulled back on their production, and other breweries here of the same scale who are looking for someone to contract a couple batches a year or maybe even a quarter.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. And all these breweries are closing and we have breweries opening.
Yeah.
My favorite story to our legislators was we had 5 breweries open in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, Wanderlust has a new owner.
They do. know a little bit. Can't say very much because I haven't really confirmed it. We would like to meet with the owner. We were introduced via email. I guess we can say it's another guy named Nathan who is going by Nate. So like,
Yeah. No, we're trying to reduce confusion.
yeah. So the original owner, Nathan, there was an interim owner,
Jesse.
Jesse, and now we have a Nate.
Now we have Nate.
Yeah. And I stopped in there a couple weeks ago. Well, in that period that was just not too long ago, called Real Wild Woody, and had a beer there. And they have a new brewer. Again, I can't say very much because I've never met the person. Made a blonde ale, which is not really what they're known for, but that's what they needed.
I mean, during the original Nathan time, it was more experimental and
Yeah.
like definitely off the beaten path beers. Like
Yeah.
you hear Wanderlust, it is definitely not going to be an IPA, a blonde ale, a Mexican lager,
Right.
and a red. Like I had today, their 928 local. They always had a saison, which I appreciate,
Right.
and we'll see. I mean, the new owner is going to take it in the direction that he thinks is going to be most successful for his business.
Right.
knows?
All I can say is my only bias, and your bias too. It's your bias.
Of course,
Was we want the brand to continue. I mean, we want this for all of our breweries, more or less. But this one,
it is.
it is markedly different than the other breweries there for many other reasons. So that's my bias on that brand is like, man,
Yeah,
this
I
should
have
not go
nostalgia
down.
for that brand because
Yeah.
they started just before I started opening Perch,
Right.
and they had the same system
Mm.
or same. Theirs was from Stout, mine was from Brew. The
I
one
don't know.
here
You're
in
looking at
Tempe.
me like I know.
The one in Tempe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, essentially the same system.
Brew gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was nice because we could talk and give each other hints and ask questions. It was great.
Also in the news nationally,
Also in the news nationally.
the Ballast Point facility. If you remember the $1 billion sale to Constellation, the heady times of 2014 or whatever it was.
And then the $100 million sale to Kings and Convicts.
right, which the brand still exists. Ballast Point brand.
They have definitely focused on pulling back to their home territory.
Where is their home territory?
San Diego.
Oh, okay. I was like Kings and Convents. I think is like Kings and Convicts
Napa.
weren't they just more? Weren't they a Midwest?
No, I think they were a winery in Napa.
All right, I don't know.
Maybe Sonoma. I don't know.
All I know is they were fortunate enough to have a tea time with somebody in
Constellation people. And they were like, hey, you want to buy our brewery?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, the point is,
They have sold the Miramar facility.
no, the big one, whatever. It's not Miramar, but the big Ballast Point Brewery
Right, the flagship.
is in
The hands of
Athletic Brewing Company,
Right.
making that NA product,
right.
crushing it.
And I told you today I should give them a second chance because I'm not a fan of their version of non-alcoholic beers. Although I don't know, other than Guinness 0.0 and Deschutes, and this is totally a style that lends itself better to, I think, non-alcohol. I just think a lot of them taste wordy, and you didn't necessarily refute me on that. And you were like, well, it's a different kind of beverage. Which, all right, I can see that. But this is, again, why if I'm going to drink a non-alcoholic beer-adjacent product, it's clearly beer adjacent. It is hop water. I think I have a problem with the uncanny valley of this is sort of like something needs to take it over the edge. Like I either need to make it really, really sweet or somehow dry it out with, I don't know what, alcohol,
Yes.
right?
Look, alcohol has a flavor and it carries flavors, and it is
It's a solvent. It breaks
an
things up.
exceptional
Yeah.
device for
But
getting flavors.
Nevertheless, like I experienced with them as early on, I'll give them another shot. Like they do wonderful things in the charity space. I mean, and their message is great, and There's a lot of things to
JJ,
like.
their sales guy here, is awesome.
Yeah.
And he hits the market. Like that dude hustles.
They're a great product to have in a tap room, in our tap rooms, for that matter.
They're a great product to have in my fridge.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to give them another shot. But like, they do things with the Michael J. Jackson Foundation. Like, they are one of the spearheads of that foundation's scholarship program. So,
Anyways, now
I don't
they
have to
a-
love everyone's product, do I?
You do not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right.
They have now, this is their third brewery. So they have one on the East Coast, one in California, now a second in California.
Right.
And they also were one of the highest increase in total, not only percentage, but also barrels
Right.
year over year.
So the trend that we didn't ever announce is non-traditional people taking over breweries and finding some success, some failure with it. Because like, I'm going to say these guys are right now, it's hard to say, but maybe success.
They're fire right now. There's a lot more competition coming into that market from experienced brewers.
Right.
So they're facing some like new increased competition. For a long time, they were like the brand.
Right. So is Twisted Tea, by the way. So is, I mean, like you can
Truly?
White Claw.
Oh yeah, right. Truly. So I didn't mean to say that out loud. Ooh.
So, second, cannabis companies, Tilray. I don't know, not clear to me. Seem to be finding some success. Definitely reinvigorating some of these breweries. I'm hearing different things internally how that's working out. You know, not as maybe wonderful as we all see on the outside. Is what I'm hearing from Tilray employees. So,
Got some inside baseball?
not yet.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but
All right.
not something I could talk about per se.
Understood.
And it's not across the board. It's just here and there, right? You got places all over the map who went through the ABI ringer and who remember the old days. Like, it's going to be like that. Third, energy drink companies closing facilities doesn't mean they're not successful, but you know, in our industry, like the culture and the employment of people is important. I hope it still is. So mixed bag on these new people coming into this industry, right?
How about old people like Boston Beer and their potential sale that's been debunked, but maybe not?
Yeah, they're definitely looking for a valuation. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like, that doesn't accidentally happen. Like, whether there was an offer on the table or not, they definitely put the feelers out about, or somebody got really comfortable in the co-production of products and information was shared and somebody thought there was an opportunity. That's all I can say. But has it been debunked? Like, because
Yeah, like Suntory said, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
right.
We ain't doing that.
I mean, we like to think they're all monolithic companies with one message, but like, there's minions. There's tons of people who, I mean,
Get on a golf course.
you could play
and
both. You could play both sides of that, right? You got
say,
people out
"Hey,
there.
we-
Go make an offer, and we'll deny it. Who
We would
knows?
love to have Twisted Tea in our portfolio, but I don't know about that beer part. Oh, and then there was some discussion on Brewbound about how long does Sam Cook hang out? Wait,
Jim Cook,
Jim Cook hang
Sam
out.
Calagione.
There you go.
Which one?
I got them
Both?
mixed together. How long does Jim Cook hang out and continue running it when he has Sam Calagione ready to take over?
Really quickly, just because I was looking through my memories, and 2011, I was at the Brewers Conference in San Diego, and I found this little snippet. Like, I just kind of like captured a quote. This was Vinny Cerluzzo. He says, "You better learn to brew with your dog because your dog is just going to lay there, and you need to do this on your own." I wrote that down. I'm like, seemed really deep at the time, but
That's funny.
yeah, you should learn to brew with your dog because the dog is just going to lay there, and you need to learn on this on your own. Probably someone asked him about working together with other breweries and all this other stuff. I don't know. We could go on and on and on. Do we have any other? Because
The Arizona legislature finally is in Sendai.
oh, yeah. Is it Sindai? Sini
I don't know what it is.
Sini Dai. The
Sini
day has
Dai.
ended.
The day has ended.
So yes, it happened over the weekend after a marathon session. There was signals on Thursday and Friday that this was going to happen. Means it's all budget bills, very little opportunity for other bills to pass. So let me give my evaluation of I don't even know what number. I'm supposed to be in the 75th session 2.
Oh.
I don't even know what it is anymore.
Mm.
Do I count?
1912, 2023, every year, 111th.
No, I don't know. I could look it up, but so with it ending on Saturday, the 17th, something like that. No, 15th.
Yes.
The
Bills will go into effect on September 16th.
I have 24th,
I don't know.
September 24th. I don't know. There's we could look up general day effective. We'll pause. Okay.
All right. Hey, we're back, and we did a little research. So
it is the 56th second regular session.
56-second regular session.
And
so
Andrew is
maybe
correct.
by term, like 2-year terms.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Do our legislators have 2-year terms?
Yes.
Yuck.
Yeah.
That is awful. What a waste of time.
Yes.
And so 56 first regular was last year, and this is 56 second regular.
Right.
So it boils down to 111th. Yeah, got it.
So the general effective date is 9/14. You were correct. I just took the date and I asked Google for 90 days, and who knows what I got. I
All right.
did that this morning.
Great.
So the 14th of September is when things go into effect.
14th
And we will
of
already have
September.
been meeting as an industry for maybe 2 months.
I already know that. All I know is that the law that is 15-week abortion law will be in effect before the stupid ass 0 abortion law goes in effect. So it's covered.
Yeah, I think there's
You got a 12-day window between and stuff.
Yeah, and there was a rumor that they were going to try to keep the session open so there would be no crossover, which would be a terrible thing.
Right. And they didn't. Yay.
So let
I
me
guess they got bored of taking days off.
here's what I think of this. It's been a very unproductive session, especially if you discount the fact that the abortion issue had to be resolved. That was a completely avoidable thing several years ago. The confusion was left confusing so that it would be to the advantage of political reasons.
And in order to close the session, they yeeted a budget out there that is trash. And then they just wanted to get out of session so they can start taking lobbying money for their reelection campaigns.
That is a very cynical way of saying it, but I can't necessarily disagree. It's hard to characterize the actions of an entire body where there are political divisions and they're only reflected in a few votes from individuals that we know and people that we think are in good character and people who have, this is literally without regard to political party, but you know, it's a little weird because they close session and they all have these good feels they throw out there. It's like they you leave the cameras on for an extra hour. Senator Bennett from Prescott sings a song about the whole thing. Like they have ice cream. They thank their staff, which they should do. They say it's kind of like a little bit of a roast. in the best of sessions, it's interesting, but when we have kind of a dog like this, it just kind of, I'm making a face.
Yeah.
So the budget, we still don't know the ramifications of that. There were not, the budget is still going to put us out of,
Not balanced.
it's not really. And
It's not balanced
There's
at
200,
all.
There's $200 million that is coming from opioid settlements from federal government that probably shouldn't go where they're going to go. And our AG is going to resist that. So I don't know what that does.
There's a whole big mess.
Absolutely nothing that was done with water.
Nothing was done with ESAs. No, water lost. Water lost $150 million. Because water. That's so 2022, Rob. Water.
But we obviously want to say that you can still build here, you can still grow here, but I don't think the underpinnings of that have been put to rest.
Teachers got no raises. $0.
Yeah, but the continuing funds, they didn't help. That wasn't held hostage because they can shut schools down by not, I forget what it's called, but there was a continuation that says you can.
Oh, yes. So the school spending limits
Yeah.
got raised to whatever we give you, you can spend.
Yeah,
In the past, it was whatever. You could only spend this much, even if we give you more, and then we have to do another law to do that. And so they fixed that. That was good, at least for the next
Right.
2 years.
It's like the debt limit argument.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
what are you really going to do here? You're going to shut the government down and you're going to default on loans? Are you going to close
Shut the schools down and tell people their kids have to stay home for the next 6
Right.
weeks.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
So they fixed that, which is nice because that was a problem for the last couple of years. Is that they had more money that they weren't allowed to spend.
So we learned about a thing called reconsideration, which was used a couple of times. It was a way to extend bills to to keep those active so that they still had pressure to do the budget. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I am.
Which hardly ever comes up. You are
Go
the
on.
king.
Just go on. It's fine.
Yeah, do it. Do
No,
it.
that's not
Sorry, we had a little spillage here. Go ahead, use that then.
Oh, thanks.
Reconsideration is when a vote is going to fail, and often the bill sponsor or somebody who has sympathies for the bill can say, after it's they have
Only
to vote
someone
no.
who voted no.
You have to vote no.
Oftentimes, this is why a bill sponsor will vote no on
Right.
their own bill.
Right. So that you can make a motion to reconsider.
I've got
It's kind of a dude.
man.
New shit
New
has
shit
come to
has
light.
come to light.
Often it's followed by an amendment. This is what allowed our liquor consensus bill to prevail. So let me tell you what is in that on the highlights. There is a provision for restaurants that sold cocktails to go to be able to say, hey, we didn't have there was no true definition of our percentages. So moving forward, here's what the new definition is. It encompasses a year instead of a point in time. However, another word that we learned about was retroactivity. They took the retroactivity clause out, which meant like, hey, it wasn't defined. So can we get this reconsidered, taken back to the origination of the cocktail bill, which was not that far off. So in case we were out of whack and in that respect, we can't be held responsible for that. That freaked out a bunch of people for some reason. It seems reasonable to put a retroactivity clause in there, in my opinion.
Right, because it was just correcting a mistake in the original bill.
Or it wasn't even a mistake. It was a lack of definition. So now we have the definition.
That's a mistake.
Well, maybe. I mean,
Okay.
There's
This- it
then
seems like-
the entire Title IV is a series of mistakes because there are technical holes and there are things
Absolutely,
that need to be
yes.
discussed and all this. But apparently, we're okay with retroactivity when it comes to if in the ballot the electorate decides to discontinue the judge appointments in a ballot if they say, no, we do not prefer these judges to have lifetime appointments anymore, take them out. But if we vote for this ballot initiative and we say, well, we want to have lifetime appointments, that there is a retroactivity. So even though those two things happen at the same time, we clearly said we don't want these people. And other people have said we want lifetime appointments. Those two people that were voted out will be back in. So we love retroactivity for that, but not for the business owner who tried to take part in a program that was legally allowed.
It is specifically one business. However, it's not a fly-by-night. It's not a scam business. It's a real, legitimate, like restaurant.
It could be others though, that they were just the poster child.
They could. They're the poster child because they're the ones that said, "Hey, we need this fixed."
So a certain legislator didn't understand that a business was like, I don't know, 25, 30, maybe 10, whatever. Like I just found out this business selling liquor, cocktails in my neighborhood. Like, geez, man, get out a little bit.
And I just realized that I need to explain at this point why I'm nicknaming the bill Sombreros, because in the testimony, and I've talked to a lot of people about this bill over the last couple of weeks, it was noted that the Sombreros chain, which I knew nothing about till this morning, I hit maps and found out they have 13 locations in the Phoenix metro area. I believe what happened is they hired lobbyists to come down because they were in trouble. They had been breaking the law, and that's why this bill is proactive. Back to January 1st of this year to cover Sombreros, properly pronounced, sorry.
I don't know. Like, I'm conflicted about this,
It's a
obviously.
large Arizona restaurant company.
So this is a long way of saying this is very complicated, but I'm going to tell you that the Restaurant Association, the Arizona Licensed Beverage Association, which represents bars, number 6 licenses, number 7 licenses, some number 12. There's like a little bit of crossover. People with liquor licenses, us, and we got no objection from the distilleries and the wineries. Why would we? We supported a hemp bill, and it got reconsidered. It did not get a final vote. There were amendments. And so right now, in fact, I might just do it right now. You can order hemp beverages online. I can just check a box, say I'm 18. It'll be delivered to my house. It'll sit there until I pick it up. No signature. There will be no clear labels on products that come here that way about how they can. We just talked about clear labels. It might say THC on there very clearly, and if I'm somebody who cannot have THC, I will not see that perhaps. There's no standardization on that. There's no guidelines on who can sell these products. There's no licensing.
Or who can buy it. It doesn't even say you have to be 18.
No.
The companies have decided.
Right.
We're only going to sell to people 18 or older, but there's no rule. Hold on though, Rob. What did our attorney general say about these products?
They didn't actually say anything about these products, in my opinion. They said that they sent out a message that said that THC cannot be combined with alcohol, which is something that we're all clear about.
No.
That's what they put out.
The Arizona attorney general said that any hemp-derived intoxicating products are illegal to sell other than at dispensaries.
I don't believe that's. We have to look into that. I don't think that's the case.
Well, the company that I bought my hemp products from will no longer ship to Arizona. I went to reorder because it was so good.
Right.
And they were like, nope, you're not eligible in that location.
The message that was sent out through the DLLC.
No, not DLLC.
No, it was put out by
the Attorney General.
No. We disagree on this.
Chris Mays. You ever heard of her?
Yes. You're going to have to show me that.
Well, Rob was not correct about the Attorney General's opinion. Nevertheless, there are no label or age standards for these products, and there are already retailers that are challenging these laws, as we will hear when we come back.
Okay, I'm reading what you said.
Hey, we're back.
I'm reading what you said, and I do remember this, but this is not.
Quite what I said. I was off a little bit.
Well, this was in March.
Chances are good.
This is in March, and we've since bought those products.
It was right before that we did our little flurry of purchasing through the United States Postal Service intoxicating
I don't.
hemp-based
all I know
THC
is
beverages.
All I know is, well, I'll have to see if there's a written opinion, but there are disagreements about this,
Well, definitely.
like legal-based definition.
Yes.
Disagreements about this.
Absolutely. I agree.
So it hasn't stopped anybody, is my point. And it was put out in conjunction with a statement about THC and alcohol, which we already know this. This is like saying, hey, you cannot put horse tranquilizers in vodka. I'm like, all right. But it was couched in such a way to say, don't even bother to look into these things. Seriously. Like, there is no reason to put that out.
Example is a little extreme, but okay.
No, it's not.
You can't put horse tranquilizers in vodka. What they're saying is you can't put THC in beer. There's a lot of correlation between these two
I'm not-
human intoxicants.
I'm not disagreeing. This is a federal thing. Has nothing to do with state law. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I got it.
You put an opinion out about state law that has nothing to do with state law. It's not. There is no state law, by the way. It's
Yes.
federal. There is not a state law that says you can't put those things in. It is
I'm
a federal
agreeing with you.
law. Okay.
What I said is she made an announcement. And
Yeah.
is that useful? I don't know. She said smoke shops can't sell THC-based products. There is not a legal definition of what a smoke shop is, and therefore, no one can really sell it.
There's no definition of. It's a process. It's not the thing. So that's the argument.
I'm on board. What I'm
right.
saying is it is dicier in this state right now than it was before she made that. I think it was just a press conference. I don't even know where.
So, that, like you could say that, oh, this is going to restrict. It's actually, when you have these disagreements about the law, when an AG or someone makes that kind of statement, it sets up the exact challenge. So,
there are laws, there are rules, and then there are
opinions.
of your attorney general.
Right.
Going from most defensible to let's check it out in court.
Right.
And that's
what's
how
going
it
to
has
happen.
to go with someone who can afford to go to court.
Right.
And,
Or has low enough stakes that it doesn't matter.
yes,
Because
just do it anyways.
what I'm going to say is like a smoke shop's going to say like, we're just going to make it.
Yeah.
And then
well,
we'll-
they're not making it. But
No,
yeah.
but they could. This is my point.
Sure.
There's absolutely no regulation on that. We were not allowed to fold it into a very knowable system.
Which is our goal with this legislation.
Right.
To have rules defined. Instead, the definition is just an opinion, literally at a podium with a microphone.
So we've had a couple of attorney generals in the time that I've been here, and they were things that were made opinions on that never saw the light of day. It was the opinion of the last attorney general that there's nothing going on with the fake electors. This attorney
It
general
was the
has
opinion
decided
of the attorney general that
there is something going
no
on.
one can make you put a mask on your face
Exactly. So
or tell you to.
this sets up the challenge.
No one can make you. That's true.
This sets up the challenge. And what I'm going to tell you is we are seeing and will continue to see more places sell these beverages. They're going to be manufactured out of state. You might see somebody serving them at a restaurant or a bar, in addition to selling it in and outside of the smoke shop milieu. You're going to see perhaps somebody who has a liquor license making these products, my guess. You're going to see people who don't have a liquor license making these products. That's probably a given.
I don't like any of this.
No, because it falls outside. We wrote a regulatory bill and it was ignored. And so,
It was demonized.
yeah.
Oh,
And there was a alliance between very unlike political allies to ignore it. It wasn't openly fought. It was just ignored. So we're going to walk into the next session going, I told you so.
It's going to go again.
Told you so.
And there will be other market systems that bring it to a more spotlighted situation.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap this up, Rob. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Hey,
Always good to talk to you.
yeah, thanks. I hope this was useful for our listeners. And remember, smash that subscribe button.
I'm going to smash this beer.
Hey, sometimes the beer finds you.
This is not a beer podcast. It's a podcast about beer.
You're right. And hemp.
Sometimes.
There's a lot of hemp going on.
Oh, we lost that camera. We lost that camera.